Hello and welcome to a very cold Warwickshire. It is currently -3 degrees. Brr. I'm wearing gloves and there's frost on the ground. But hey, we're not here to talk about the weather. This is not a Zoom call. We're here to talk about this, the Volkswagen ID.7. It's an EV, and it's an EV that I happen to like very much, primarily because of its shape. Look, it's the shape of a car. Now, since EVs burst onto the market a few years ago, there's been a bit of a trend, an upsetting trend. The trend being eggy, blobby shaped cars like this, and this, and this, and this, but not this. This is the shape of a car, and for that reason alone, I like it. But secondly, it's actually a very good car, and I've enjoyed this car for the past 2 weeks. Today, I'll be telling you why. Welcome to Driven. My name is John Marcar, and this is the Volkswagen ID.7. So what is it? Well, apart from stating the obvious and saying it's the Volkswagen ID.7, it's probably worth pointing out that this is a car that's here to replace an existing Volkswagen. The Passat. The much-loved Passat has been around and on our roads since the 1970s, but now the ID.7 is coming along to take its place. And at the time of recording this and filming this, you can still go and buy a Passat, but when the time comes that all the internal combustion cars go away and they get taken over by the EVs, this is what your salesman at the Volkswagen dealership is going to be offering you in part exchange for your 2-litre TDI Passat. Nice thing though. So to give it its full name, this is the ID.7 Pro S Match, and it's got a 77 kilowatt hour battery that produces around 282 horsepower and around 545 newton meters of torque. All of the power goes to the rear wheels. It's just the rear wheel drive version on this. And charging wise, it's not too bad. About 10 to 80% should, if you find a fast charger at 200 kilowatts, take around 26 minutes, which isn't too bad on a day like today where it's freezing cold. It's a little bit longer, as I found out this morning, but all in all, good thing. Now, the ID.7, like the Passat, is available either as a saloon car like this or an estate, which is obviously going to be a bit better for the family dog. But in this shape, as a saloon car, it has the best drag coefficient. In fact, this has a CD rating of 0.23. In terms of consumption, the ID.7 in this shape will cruise along with a consumption of 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which also is pretty good in terms of the drag coefficient, aerodynamics, and therefore consumption. It's all good news. It is, however, being an EV, quite a heavy car. This ID.7, as it sits here, without anybody in it, is 2.2 tons. So by the time you put me in the driver's seat and 3 of my friends of a similar size, we're looking at a car well over 2.5 tons. Whew. Now, in terms of acceleration, the ID.7 in this format, the Pro S Match, will accelerate from 0 to 62 miles an hour in 6.6 seconds and top out at a grand total of 112 miles an hour. Don't necessarily need much more than that because it is, after all, a big family car. Now, in terms of range, because that's the question you're going to be asking, well, I'm going to have to refer to a few notes on my phone because, frankly, as ever, my memory sucks. But now, Volkswagen claim that the ID.7 Pro S Match will do a total combined WLTP full electric range of 436 miles. Take that, if you will, with not just a pinch, but a fistful of salt, because of course, that is a best case scenario. At this time of year especially when it's -3 on the top of a very high uphill, there's no way on earth this is getting anywhere near to that. And in fact, let me just refer to my notes. Just the other morning, I went and put a full charge in this, charged to 100%, a little bit warmer than it is today, but not a lot warmer, and I was rewarded with a grand total driving range of 282 miles. That's well over 150 miles less than that best case scenario. But let me just stress again, because I know some people will be starting to type their comments already. Yes, that WLTP combined best case scenario is very much a best case scenario. That's not driving on motorways, not using heaters, not using heated seats, etc., etc., etc. The realistic range on a good, nice, warm, average sunny day is probably going to be closer to 370 miles. That's what you can expect to find from this, which, to be honest with you, I think is absolutely fine. I'll run through some figures with regard to the size of this car as well, because I keep hinting that it is a big family car, and it really is a big family car. From rear bumper to front bumper, 4.9 meters in length, nearly 5 meters of car. The width of this thing as well is 2.1 meters wide. So we are, whilst it's not SUV shaped, it is certainly large SUV size. And the platform that this ID.7 is using is actually the same one that you will see on the ID Buzz, which of course is the big van. So you'll understand why it's so big. But the size from the exterior does have some benefits with the interior. Go around here and jump in the back with me. I'm going to show you how big this thing is inside. Whoa! Now look at this. That driver's seat is in my driving position, and as a little reminder, I'm 6'1" tall, or 186-ish centimeters. But look at that legroom. My back is right back to the back of the seat. I've got loads of space here, and I've got pretty good headroom as well. This is a really nice place to be as a rear passenger. I probably wouldn't want to put 3 of me back here, but 2 would definitely fit quite comfortably. And if you needed a third, you can. And when you're not got a third, you've got your armrest there with some cup holders. Good, spacious. And up there, things get even better. Oh, there we are. Right, driver's seat, interior. I'm going to take these off now because, frankly, I can put on my heated seat and my heated steering wheel and be a lot warmer. But the interior up here is lovely. Loads of space here. I've got a nice big 15-inch screen. That's larger than the television I had in my bedroom as a child, quite comfortably. But the good thing about this ID.7, as Volkswagen do with all of their electric cars, is you've got the large screen there, but also a little screen ahead of you for things like speed and general information, including cruise control. There's also a head-up display and something else I really like, which I'll show you in greater detail once we get out onto a drive, and that is the augmented reality sat-nav, which projects arrows onto the windscreen to show you exactly where to turn or where to exit a roundabout, and it's really clever, really good stuff. I'll show you that in a second. Now, let me refer to some notes again, because I should probably tell you about the price. Now, this ID.7, as it comes out of the shop without any options ticked, has a price tag of £55,480. That's your on-the-road retail price. But you do get, for that money, some nice features. The features that you get included in that price are metallic paintwork. This one is called Aquamarine Blue. You also get 19-inch wheels as standard. The ones on here have been upgraded, but I'll explain that in a second. You get privacy glass as standard. You get a rear view camera as standard. And as I mentioned, that large 15-inch navigation and infotainment screen in the center. However, this car, this press car, has got a few optional extras ticked, and therefore the price has gone up just a tiny little bit. So the options that this car has, as I alluded to, the 20-inch upgraded alloy wheels, they come at a cost of £480. This has the exterior pack plus with the electronic darkening sunroof. That costs £2,100 and includes things like adaptive chassis control, some driving profiles, illuminating logos, and the rear sound insulated glass. So that's the back windows and I think the rear screen, double glazed, just a little bit quieter for your passengers in the back. This one also has what's called the interior pack plus, which has a price tag of £2,000, and that gives you some Harman Kardon speakers, which are very nice. The other big one that I love in that pack is these seats. It gives you upgraded massaging and ventilating seats, and let me tell you, the massaging seats in this car genuinely, I believe, are as good as the massaging seats that you get in a Bentley Continental. And they may even be, being that they're in the same group, it might be the same hardware. Prove me wrong in the comments if you think I've got that wrong, but genuinely the seats in here from a heating and massaging and general comfort point of view are as good as a Bentley. So that is a big tick, well worth the money. And you also get some luggage nets that go in the boot for things like keeping your shopping from flying around. The overall price tag though, with those options, means that this car is now north of £60,000. It's £60,060. That's the exact price tag for the car as you see it here. Entirely up to you as to what options you were going to pick, but if you are going to pick one, definitely upgrade the interior with the sound system and these seats, because they are superb. And if you're going to be doing lots of driving, there is nothing better than getting a lovely massage whilst cruising along. In terms of general practicality, we've got loads of storage in here, as you'd expect. It's a family car, so you've got wireless charging pads down there, you've got storage boxes here, you've got a fairly generously sized glove box, you've got big door pockets, and the door pockets, I should mention, have been lined. They're actually lined with felt, so if you have got keys or other loose things in there, as you're accelerating and braking, they're not going to be sliding around and rattling. They're nicely damped, so that's been well thought out. You've also got a big storage pocket down there as well. So it looks good, it goes well, it's very comfortable, has lovely massaging seats. What about the drive? Well, we'll do that now. So, in terms of driving, there isn't really much to moan about. And usually I do like to try and find things to moan about. Yes, it's a heavy car. No, it's not particularly dynamic, but that said, it's not dynamic. But then it's a family car, so it doesn't need to be dynamic. This is just a nice place to be, with a really nice driving position, really comfortable seats, steering wheel feels good, the arm rest points are lovely. It's just a nice place to be, pure and simple. Now there is a slightly faster version of the ID.7. There is a GTX version, which is of course the performance aspect of the ID range. Now the GTX is a little bit more money, but I'll be completely honest with you, I probably wouldn't bother buying it. So the GTX starts before any options at £62,000, and what you get for the additional money is four-wheel drive rather than two-wheel drive. You get a slightly faster 0 to 60, but of course with the four-wheel drive system you get a bit more weight, and because of the increased performance you also lose a bit of range, so you get less overall mileage for a marginally faster car, and well, that's it really. You don't really get anything else in terms of luxuries or anything beyond what you've got in here. So my advice, save your money, stick with the Pro S Match. Now the luxuries, again, I've mentioned it and I'll mention it again and again and again. The seats and the general comfort of driving this car are exquisite. I'm driving along now, getting a full body massage, which is glorious. The heated seats on, and the heated seats actually have multiple modes to them. So you can just put your standard heated seats on. You can also set them to an automatic climate control, and what that does is it regulates your body temperature. If it feels that you need to be cooled down a bit, it will pump ventilated air-conditioned air through the seats. And likewise, if it feels like you need to be warmed up, then it will warm you up. But it also has something called dry boost, and that is fantastic if on a day like today, where you've been out and about walking, you might get caught in the rain, you might get caught in the snow. You get back in the car with your wet clothes on, you hit the dry boost button, and what it will do is it will heat the seats and pump through air-conditioned air at the same time, simultaneously dehumidifying you and your clothes. And I think that's brilliant. And then for the really, really cold days, you can get in the car first thing in the morning, as I did today with a completely frozen car, and the heated seats also have a max heating function. You hit that button and the temperature of the seats will increase to the maximum straight away, enabling you to warm up rapidly. So there's no sitting in freezing cold cars. And of course, that is a huge benefit when it comes to EVs versus internal combustion engines, because of course, in an internal combustion engine, you have to wait for the engine to warm up before your central heating is going to warm up, because of course it uses the heat from the cooling system of the car. In an EV, there isn't really that same cooling system, so you just switch on the heat and the heat happens. And that's good, that's a benefit. It also does things like defrost the windscreen really quickly, which again, if you're in a petrol or a diesel car, you've got to wait for your engine to warm up, wait for your hot air, and then eventually you'll be able to get going. So that is a big tick for the world of EVs. A big thumbs down, though, for the world of EVs, and this is not exclusive to this car, is, of course, the charging infrastructure. Because, of course, at the time of recording this, unless you have somewhere to charge your car at home, and if you're reliant, therefore, on the public charging infrastructure, you're going to have a fairly miserable time. Only this morning, before filming today, I took this car to my local Shell petrol station, which has a Shell recharge. And I charged the car from around 40% up to 90%. The charge didn't take long because it was a nice fast charger, but what it did do was cost me a small fortune. What I ended up with was around 152 miles of range from that charge this morning. But the cost of doing so was disgraceful. It was £52.56, which, if I think about my diesel Land Rover Defender, for example, if I were to put £50 worth of diesel in there, I would get a hell of a lot more than 130, 40 odd miles. So that is still the downside. If, though, you have the option to plug in at home, then it probably is going to work for you because, of course, an overnight charge on that 11 kilowatt wall plug is probably going to cost you 10 to 15 quid. And for that, you can get a full charge, and in the best case scenario, you're looking at 350 plus miles. And there is absolutely no way that £10 worth of diesel in my Land Rover Defender would get me anywhere near that mileage. So those are the options that you've got to weigh up, and this is going to be an ongoing thing for, I'd say, a good few years. People are going to be weighing up the odds, and I know plenty of people that have bought into EVs without the ability to charge at home, and then, of course, been stung by the public charging prices, and therefore, for the short term at least, have switched back to internal combustion cars. I completely understand why that would happen. Now then, back to the positives though, and what I'll focus on is the assisted cruise control. Got a selection of different cruise control modes. So I'm now on travel assistant. I'm going to set my speed limit to match, set my speed to match the speed limits. And what that does is it reads road traffic signs and knows when you're entering, as we are right now, a 30 mile per hour limit. So the car will slow itself down to match that speed limit. It will keep itself in lane, it will steer around corners, it will observe what other cars and traffic is doing. So therefore, if the cars ahead of you start to slow down, or a big truck is coming towards you like it is now, the car will prepare to come to a stop. It will apply the brakes on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. Now, obviously, you have got full manual control, and the car will prompt you every so often if your hand's been off the wheel for a little bit too long. It will say, just if you wouldn't mind just putting them back on, please. That would be great because, of course, it hasn't got full autonomous driving, but the system is very, very good. And if you've been watching lots of our videos, you would have seen that not long ago, I was driving around in the Tesla Model 3 with the full enhanced autopilot system. And you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. This is better. I would much rather drive along with Volkswagen's assisted cruise control on than Tesla's advanced autopilot. It just isn't that good, whereas this is. The other thing that I really like about this assisted cruise control system is its ability and its intuition when coming to junctions and turns in the road. So I'm coming up to a junction now, I've not hit the brake pedal at all, I've not needed to. The car just knows how to handle the situation. It will slow you down towards roundabouts. It will even slow you down on a 60 mile per hour country lane as we are now as you approach a sharp bend. The car knows what's coming up. It talks to its navigation system. It can see the road layout ahead. And therefore, when you come up to a sharp turn, it will automatically scrub the speed for you because it knows that entering a corner like that at 60 mile per hour is probably not a very good idea. It's clever. It's a really, really clever system. Now, another luxury that is a bit of a quirk, admittedly, in a lot of cars, but in here I have actually used it quite a lot for the past couple of weeks, is the assistant, the virtual assistant that you get. So in here, her name is Ida, and I can ask her different prompts by saying, "Hello, Ida. How many miles range do I have at the moment?"
Based on your current consumption, you can still drive 197 miles.
Hello, Ida. What is the weather forecast this week?
This week it will be partly cloudy with snow in Leamington Spa with temperatures between -3 and 1 degree Celsius.
Hello, Ida. Switch on my massaging seat.
Oh, that's something I still need to learn.
Oh, annoying. I have to press buttons. Hello, Ida.
According to ChatGPT, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you're referring to regarding pressing buttons.
Fine. The car does also have, as you've just been informed there by the lady herself, ChatGPT, which is a bit of a strange gimmick because I don't often need to speak to ChatGPT, but it's there if you need it, I guess. The one thing that I haven't yet shown you, though, is the augmented reality satellite navigation. So if I ask Ida, hello, Ida. Hello, Ida. Navigate to Burton Dasset Hills.
Okay. Burton Dasset Hills Country Park in Leamington Spa. Have a good journey.
Thanks. So there we go. I've now told her where I want to go. I'm going to set the cruise control to automatically abide by the speed limit for me so I can relax. And what I now get is, of course, navigation settings on the main screen here. I get them on my head-up display, but here's where it gets really clever. As we approach junctions and corners, I get a huge sequence of arrows that appear on the windscreen to show me where my turning points are. And they appear as little arrows in the distance, which match up with the actual distance of the road ahead of you. And then as you approach the corner, the arrows come towards you, showing exactly where you need to turn. And that is particularly handy for things like roundabouts or motorway junctions, because it shows you the exact turning point, which can sometimes, admittedly, get a little bit confusing with some inbuilt satellite navigation systems. So that is brilliant. Car is coming to a stop, it's braking, I'm not doing any of the braking, and look at this, it's steering. But I don't trust it enough on that particular corner, especially as it's a tiny bit icy today. It's very cold. But cruising along, 60 miles an hour, the car's accelerating, it's steering for me, it can see the 30 mile per hour signs that we're about to go through, it's applying the brakes ever so slightly, and by the time we hit the signs, we're at 30 miles an hour. We're navigating through a tight little village. The car will steer for me, as it's doing now. It is asking me to take over the steering just so I can remind it that I'm still here. But the car's turning for me, keeping itself in lane, avoiding parked cars, keeping off the muddy verge. Brilliant. Lovely, lovely system. Very good. So it's clever. It's incredibly comfortable. It's exceptionally relaxing to drive. I think that the car looks very good. It's very practical from an everyday family car or just everyday car point of view, with lots of storage. I've got an absolutely enormous boot at the back with the seats folded down. You're well over 1,300 litres of storage in here. And of course, if you opt for the estate version with the shooting brake back end, then you'll have a little bit more. And as I said at the beginning, that's going to be a little bit friendlier if you've got Fido the dog that wants to sit in the back. What I believe this car is, both for Volkswagen but also for the world of EVs, is it's a bit of an unsung hero. I don't know about you, but I've not seen all that many ID.7s on the road. And I can't really work out why. Now that I've driven this thing for a couple of weeks, I think if I were in the market for something of this size as a full EV and something that is just nicely understated, this is what I'd pick. Genuinely mean that. I was very impressed with the Tesla Model 3 that I drove recently, and I'm sure the slightly larger models like the Model Y would be just as impressive. But if it's me and my money, I still think from a car and a driver's point of view, the Tesla doesn't quite hit the mark for me, whereas this really does. It feels like a car with many, many, many generations of refinement, of adjustments, of tweaks. It feels like a car made by a car company, whereas the Tesla doesn't quite yet. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I quite like this. So what do you reckon? Volkswagen ID.7. Worthy of celebration, do you agree? Do you think it's a bit of an unsung hero, like I do? Or is it worth celebrating for the simple fact that it is a car in the shape of a car. I think for me, above all, that is the big thing. But it is a good thing, a lovely thing, and I've really enjoyed the 2 weeks that I've had this car. And if you'd like to see the full written version of this review, then head on over to the website, driven.site, and there you will see hundreds of other reviews, as well as our back catalogue of other videos and our podcasts and our hand-picked news stories. It's all there for you to see and enjoy. For now, I'll say thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so, and if you've enjoyed this video especially, why not hit that subscribe button and you'll see the next video when it gets uploaded. We've also got the little bell notification here. You can hit that to be notified of the next upload as well. For now, I'll say goodbye with the Volkswagen ID.7. Good car.